Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to be using the Stitch Circle die from Lawn Fawn, and I die cut that out of a piece of watercolor cardstock. I'm going to be using 3 different color distress inks. So first I have the peacock feathers, then I am using the twisted citron, and the last one is the picked raspberry. So these are super bright colors. I'm kind of focusing on making spring cards with the bright colors right now. So I just put those on my nonstick craft sheet, and I'm spritzing them with a little bit of water. And then I'm going to place my oval down into the watercolor, and I chose the side that is more rough. So this is the distressed watercolor cardstock. I'm just going to pick it up and let that color blend a little bit, and then take my heat tool and dry that, or you could just let it air dry. And then I'm going to go back in and kind of put some more color on there. So you can see how bright and vibrant that makes it with the more color that you add to it. And then I'm going to go ahead and dry that once again. So this background kind of looks like tie-dye. You can see how there's the different purples and everything in there from the colors blending. I'm going to be using this die from Memory Box. So I have the butterfly, and one important note about this die is that the middle does not cut out, so it won't come loose from the rest of the oval. It's still going to be attached. So I'm just going to place that down with some washi tape and then run it right through my Cuttle Bug. Next I get to go ahead and poke out all of these little holes. I have the paper piercer that works really well for this. And these are really easy to get out. They're not stuck or anything in there. You just need a little bit of extra help getting all of those small pieces out. So you can see how that butterfly is still connected to the rest of the oval. Alright, so this die also comes with the little body on the butterfly, so I die cut that out of a piece of black cardstock, and I'm just going to add a little bit of adhesive with my multi-matte medium onto the back of it. Obviously, you don't need very much adhesive at all because it's such a little piece. But I'm just going to place that right into the center of the butterfly. Alright, so next I'm going to go ahead and stamp my sentiment. I'm using the Scripty Sentiments stamp set from Mint Studio, and I am just going to place that on my clear acrylic block. I chose the one that said Happy Birthday because those are definitely the type of cards that get low in my stash very quickly. So I'm inking this up with the VersaFine Onyx Black ink. The reason I chose this ink was just because it is a really dark black ink, and it's kind of my favorite lately to use for sentiments and stuff because it leaves such a crisp stamped image. Alright, so I had that piece done. Next I'm going to add a little bit of extra onto my card. So I'm using the Sunny Day stamp set. This is also from Mint Studio. I'm going to stamp these on a piece of vellum. So I just have some scrap vellum pieces because they're little images. You can just use your scraps for that and use them up. So I just went over those with my powder bag, and then I'm going to ink those up with the Versamark ink and then stamp them right onto my vellum. There's 2 different size clouds in this stamp set, and there's the flat bottom or the puffy cloud. I chose both the large and the small flat bottomed cloud. You can mix and match whatever ones you want, and you can also use more or fewer of the different sizes. So this is a great stamp set to use just with different dies and other stamp sets. It just works really well because you can create like little scene cards with the clouds and the sun, or just use them by themselves because there's some really great sentiments that go with this set. Alright, so I have 5 clouds stamped out, and then I am going to go ahead and place some silver embossing powder onto those so that it sticks to my Versamark ink. I just wanted something a little bit different than white, and I'm doing a gray background behind that oval, so I wanted that to kind of tie in together. This is the Zing Silver Embossing Powder, so it's a metallic embossing powder. So I'm just sprinkling that on there, and then I will go ahead and heat emboss those with my heat tool. When you are embossing onto vellum, you want to make sure that you don't place your heat tool over it for too long because it will start to warp and curl that vellum because it's such a thin paper. So you just want to make sure that your heat tool is heated up before you place it in contact with the vellum. Alright. Alright, so I have a piece of gray cardstock. This measures 4¼ by 5½ inches. It's the same size as the A2 size card base. So I'm just going to place that right onto my white card base. Now I'm going to put my oval onto my card base, so I'm just putting some adhesive on the back of that, not behind the butterfly though, because I don't want that to show through. And I'm just going to center this onto my card base. You could always put some glitter behind the butterfly or something just to make it sparkle, but I just left it to have the gray cardstock behind there. And you can see how those wings kind of pop up and off from the card itself. So then I am going to adhere down some of the clouds. Now you can see these clear foam squares through the clouds. I don't really mind it that much, but I did try to overlap them and kind of hide them with some sequins, which I'll show you later on in the card. But I am just using those clear foam squares for some of the clouds and then my zig pen for the others. So it's not very noticeable, but you can if you're looking for it. But vellum is just a really hard thing to adhere down. There's not really any solution for not being able to see adhesive through it in this case. So I just left it as is, and I just think it kind of adds to that homemade touch on the card. So I just overlapped those on either side of the butterfly. So next I'm going to go ahead and adhere the sequins. I'm using the electric mix from Mandela Studio, and like I said, I'm trying to kind of cover up some of those squares with the sequins so that they're not as noticeable on the card. And these sequins are really sparkly and they match that background perfectly. So I just adhered them down with a little bit of my multi-medium in the matte finish, and I just placed a dot of that and then push each sequin into the adhesive. So the final touch, I'm using my Wink of Stella glitter pen, and I'm just going over the wings of the butterfly to make them super sparkly so that they kind of stand out even more on the card. And that is my finished card for today. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this. Make sure to check out all of the supplies that I used on this card that are linked below. And make sure that you're subscribed to my channel so you don't miss any of my newest videos. And I will see you all back here next time. Bye everyone!